Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Major Slack. Your name is Hardcore Slacker number 1573. Let's close out this walkthrough of Doom with my review of Doom. And I'm going to be reviewing things that truly matter to me. This won't be an official review in the way that you're probably accustomed to seeing reviews, like, where the reviewers cover all the bases, graphics, this, that, whatever. In fact, I don't give a rat's ass about graphics anymore. Graphics don't matter to me anymore. I stopped caring about graphics about 7 or 8 years ago when hyper-realist games like Far Cry 2 and Crysis came out. After those spectacularly gorgeous titles came out, I was like, how much better can graphics get in a video game? Okay, how much better? I mean, I honestly have yet to be completely wowed since then. Since 7 or 8 years, I have yet to be wowed by the graphics in a video game. I'm just not the kind of gamer to be splitting hairs over how effective the anisotropic filtering is, or whether the HDR bloom was better than in the previous title. I honestly don't give a rat's ass. So I won't be talking about graphics. I will be talking about art and atmosphere, though. In fact, I've broken down what really matters to me in Doom into five main categories. Okay, and those categories are combat, gameplay versus story ratio, art and atmosphere, back-end user interface, and the save system. Okay, those are the things that really matter to me in a video game. Let's start with combat. Combat in Doom, was spectacular and clearly the best part about this game. Non-stop, in your face, shoot now or forever die a horrible death. Combat. Absolutely nuts. I loved it. A huge array of weapons and mods. So many, in fact, that I found half of the mods redundant, which is great because it means that they had a weapon and mod for all play styles. That's very good. I give combat in this game a 9 out of 10, okay? 9 out of 10. It loses half a point for the poor rendition of the BFG. Yeah, it loses half a point for that. All you geezer gamers out there will remember the original BFG in Doom. In the original Doom, you fired it and it cleared a room. No questions asked. It just cleared a room. The BFG was the panic button. The BFG was like your go-to weapon. You fired it and boom, you were out of deep doo-doo, all right? Now, the BFG in this game was burdened with this kind of chain effect where damage had to chain from one enemy to another, or from one enemy to another adjacent enemy in order for the BFG to work, which in my opinion really sucked. It really sucked, and it took all the fun out of using the BFG. In fact, as I demonstrated in the cooling tower fight in the Vega Central processing level, the BFG could even fail even if enemies were close together. I remember hitting a Baron of Hell that was right in front of me, and a Mancubus was very close by, and it was untouched. Untouched by the BFG. I don't know how this failed, but the BFG was reliable for getting rid of a batch of troublesome enemies. Maybe. And it was useful for stunning bosses so you can get some extra damage for a few seconds with another weapon. But other than that, BFG total fail. So combat loses a half a point for that alone. Combat loses another half a point for being just a little too difficult. Yeah, sorry to say it. The learning curve for this game was steep. I almost abandoned this project before it even got off the ground. When I first started playing Doom, I was like, this is impossible. I was supposed to do a walkthrough of this. I can't even get through level 1 without dying a dozen times in the first major fight. And one of my viewers posted a comment of his experiences, and it was pretty much exactly like mine. He said he started the game on ultra violence difficulty, hard mode. That's exactly what I did. I started on ultra violence, which is basically hard mode, okay? Couldn't handle it, knocked it down to hurt me plenty, which is normal mode. Couldn't handle that, and then said to himself, I absolutely refuse to play this game on easy, and said he would wait for my walkthrough. And that was my experiences exactly. Mirror my experiences exactly. I started on ultra violence, knocked it down to hurt me plenty, and then said I absolutely refuse to play this game on easy. I have never ever in all my 40 years of playing video games played a video game on easy. Never. I refuse. So yeah, it loses half a point for being a little too tough. This whole thing where the gameplay is designed to force you to run and gun toe-to-toe with all the enemies 24/7, to me, it's a colossal bore. It becomes a colossal bore in about 5 minutes flat. I just don't find that kind of chaotic slugfest very interesting. which is one of the main reasons I came up with my special strategic approach to the game. And then once I started doing that, things became a lot easier. Yep, I did it my way. And I'm so glad so many of you out there found my strategies useful throughout this walkthrough. Thanks for your comments. And yeah, mission accomplished for this walkthrough big time. Yeah. In case you didn't know, the game is so tough that the Ultra Nightmare mode, okay, the Ultra Nightmare mode had not been beaten by any of the game's own developers at the time of its release. None of the game's developers had beaten Ultra Nightmare when they released the game. That's how tough the game is, okay? And another longtime viewer who was a multiplayer run-and-gun aficionado also commented several times about the difficulty. So I don't feel so bad. I know from watching friends play, multiplayer, like other multiplayer enthusiasts, and they have like hair trigger reflexes, okay? They're really fast. They got like reflexes like that, like that. So if multiplayers are finding Doom tough, then I don't feel so bad. Next, gameplay versus story ratio. I know a lot of you are laughing, but this is important to me, okay? I want big gameplay and very little story, okay? And Doom really filled the bill on this one. It came through with flying colors. I give it a 9.5, okay? Gameplay versus story ratio, 9.5. It was just the way I like it. Big on gameplay, very short on story. Yeah, all you hardcore slackers out there know that the slackster ain't big on story in video games. I only start paying attention to a video game story on my third or fourth time through the game. Seriously. Until then, it's like, when is this friggin' blah-de-blah cutscene going to be over so I can get back to shooting shit up? It's like, I like to give it a 10. I'm struggling to give it a 10. I would really like it to give it a 10 on this category. It came pretty damn close, but I would have to say the constant blathering of Samuel Hayden and Vega in the Vega Central Processing level was really annoying. So it loses half a point for that one level. But it was pretty damn close to a perfect 10 on gameplay versus story ratio. What would be a perfect 10, Slack? A perfect 10, okay, would be if they encapsulated the entire game's story in a couple or 3 paragraphs on the back of the game box. And that's it. That'd be a perfect 10, okay? That's all the story I need. I'm like Vasquez in the movie Aliens. I only need to know one thing: where they are. Period. You know what I'm saying? Next, art and atmosphere. I don't really have much to say about this because atmosphere is a pretty easy score for me. Most video games, atmospheres pretty much do it for me. Atmosphere in Doom was creepy as all hell. It fit in perfectly with the perpetual "you're going to die in the next 5 seconds" gameplay. I was on the edge of my seat throughout the entire game. Art. I had this thing with the art in Doom. What's with this orange hue to everything? Everything's orange. It's the first thing I noticed about this. I was like, okay, is that just this level? No, it's like, I know we're in hell, okay, and I know we're on Mars, but does everything have to be so freaking orange all the time? Like, that was my only complaint about the art. Other than that, actually, the rendering of the Hell Knight, I think that was a little off too. If you look at the original Hell Knight and the original Doom, I think the rendering of the Hell Knight was a little off. But other than that, no, I have no complaints about the art. Other than the fact that it was just a little too orange. I know that's a weird complaint, but I got tired of it. I got tired of that hue all the time. Art and atmosphere, I give a 9, a solid 9. Let's move on to some mega bitching now. Okay, here we go. Back-end user interface. Back-end user interface, I give a 5. A 5 out of 10. And it's lucky, okay? This is primarily because of the fucking map. Pardon my French. The map in this game never opened up in the same direction. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like you open it up and your character's arrow was always facing north or something. There was no north. There was no geographical directions. Check it out. The map always opens up in a completely random direction. It drove me freaking nuts, okay? And it's a real shame because they obviously put a lot of work into the map. They made this beautiful 3D version of the map that could be scrolled and pivoted around on all axes. but it never opened up with any consistency. And then it forced you to always spend considerable time reorientating yourself as to exactly what direction you were facing and what you were looking at. It came to the point where in many instances I found the map useless. I mean, I was going, where am I? And then I go, oh, I'll just check the map. And then I was saying, fuck it, I'm not the map again. And on top of which, the map always opened up by default with all the mission information overlaid on top, Okay? So the mission information is overlaid on top. So you always had to turn off the mission information to get a clear view of the map. And then you had to fiddle around with 5 minutes just figuring out what direction you're facing with the map. It was, in fact, just thinking about this, I'm getting annoyed. Forget it. I'm knocking back the back-end user interface score to 4, not 5. It's a 4, okay? It loses a point just for making me mad thinking about it, It's a 4. Another thing that really bugged me about the map and other sections of the user interface was the interaction keys didn't toggle the interface, okay? To explain, many of the user interface buttons were configurable, that is, on the PC version, okay? You could customize which key opened up the map, okay? Now, I know this is a fine point, but this, to me, is what separates a fine game from merely a good game, okay? If I say set the map button to B, which is what I always do, okay? I always set the map button to B. When I press B, the map should open, fine. But when I press B again, the map should close. This is what I call a toggling interface. It makes gameplay a whole lot easier and intuitive and helps a great deal to retain the immersion for me. Good games like Skyrim, go check it out, Skyrim have toggling interface keys. If you set B as the map key, when you press B, it opens the map, and when you press B again, it closes the map. Not escape, not the tab button, but the same damn key, okay? Not so fine games, okay? Games that are not so good always take some kind of like easy way out, and they have like the escape key or the tab key close all the interfaces, okay? And to me, I just can't stand that, okay? I like toggling interfaces. The same key should open and close that interface. So dealing with the user interface, it's a big part of video games, and the bottom line is the user interface should be user friendly, right? So I'm giving it a 4, all right? Save system, finally, save system. This is a big deal with me too in video games. It's a big part of whether I like a game or not. To me, if a game has a quick save anytime you like system and a manual save system, okay, if it has a quick save and a manual save system, it gets an automatic 10. 10 out of 10, okay? If a game has that, it gets a 10 out of 10. If it doesn't, it loses 5 points right off the bat. What? 5 points right off the bat? That's right. 5 points right off the bat, okay? If there's an auto-save system, okay, it loses 5 points right off the bat. There is no auto-save system in the history of video gaming worthy of mention. Seriously, they all fucking suck. Period. Pardon my French, but they all fucking suck. Let's face it, people. Auto-saves in video games totally kill the replayability. They totally kill it. They make it extremely difficult to replay the game. If I cannot go back to a particular section of the game and replay it at will, any particular section, the save system sucks. Okay? Now, a video game can redeem itself a little bit in my books if it has a replay mission feature, which Doom has. Alright? Doom has a system where once you complete a mission, you can go back and replay the mission from the start. And a game can redeem itself a little more if it has a decent reload checkpoint feature, meaning I could reload the point in the game where the latest autosave was made. Doom has this as well. However, and this is a big however. This is a big however. Doom completely screwed up the reload checkpoint feature, as games often do when it comes to checkpoint restarts, by not reloading the checkpoint with all your resources and all the enemies precisely as it was when you passed that checkpoint. What's the big deal? Why can't you do that, video games? Okay? Instead, in Doom, whole sections of the level would respawn all the enemies. All the enemies would respawn for some ridiculous reason, which is a royal pain in the ass when you're playing on higher difficulty settings. So everything you work so hard to achieve up to that checkpoint gets wiped out simply because the game can't remember what you did or didn't do. I mean, okay, I understand when you cross a certain trigger line, okay, and it spawns a new group of enemies and you didn't completely wipe out that group of enemies before you died. I understand, okay, yes, respawn that group of enemies. That's fair play. But, if I do wipe out that group of enemies and then I move further into the game, pass a checkpoint, then cross another trigger line, spawning a second group of enemies, then die, don't respawn the first group of enemies that I already killed before the checkpoint. Come on, I earned that. Don't take that away. That's against the rules. Now come on. And that's what Doom does, okay? It completely drove me nuts, especially playing on higher difficulty settings. On the flip side, the game never rolled back challenge counts. When you're doing challenges and you have to count up, like, you have to get like 30 kills while patting your head and rubbing your tummy or whatever, okay? Those challenge counts never rolled back to the point where you're at when you're at the checkpoint, okay? When you pass the checkpoint. And I know a lot of you are saying, what's wrong with that, Slack? It makes it easy to cheat through challenges. Work a challenge, reload a checkpoint, rinse and repeat until the challenge is done. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to cheat. I want to go back to exactly the point I was at with my challenge at that checkpoint so I can continue to practice how to most efficiently complete that challenge. I don't want to be given free challenge points. It makes no sense. I mean, they respawn the enemies, but they don't, like, roll back your challenge count. It makes no sense. It drove me nuts. I couldn't stand it. In fact, it made practicing on Nightmare for an Ultra Nightmare run a lot more difficult than it has to be. I would have to say very poor game design that totally kills replayability when they have a poor autosave system like that is inconsistent. This is typical with a lot of games these days with autosave systems. This is what they force you to do if you're savvy enough and you're on the PC version, okay? They force you to go through this big rigmarole where you have to constantly exit the game at key points, then back up the save game files, and then if you want to replay the game from a certain checkpoint exactly as it was when you passed that checkpoint, you have to exit the game again, copy and paste in your backed up save game files, and then reload the game. Now, if I can do that with my PC file system, why the fuck can't you do that in the game? Come on, developers, this is ridiculous. Why do I have to go through this whole rigmarole outside of the game with my PC file system? That should be in the game, okay? If you have an autosave system, have it reload everything exactly the way it was. Why is that too much to ask? Seriously, okay? You know what I'm saying, eh? So, that about covers it. If you add up all my scores for all 5 categories, it comes to 36.5 divided by 5, you get 7.3. Okay, but I'm not going to give Doom a 7.3. Okay, that's just too low. I'm going to give Doom an extra point on top of its overall score for being such a kick-ass game. I mean, this game really rocked. So that's 8.3. Let's just round it up to 8.5. That's my final score for Doom, 8.5. Let's say like some of my categories carry more weight than others. Okay, so that's my final score. 8.5. That's my review of Doom. I know it went a little long. Let's talk briefly about what's coming up next. There seems to be some confusion about what's coming up next. By the way, what you're watching now is me playing Doom on Ultra Nightmare. Okay, this is level 1. Level 1, Ultra Nightmare. Alright? And there seems to be some confusion about what's coming up next here on Major Slack Videos. I've talked about a lot of games, and I did some feedback polls as well. I talked about Doom Ultra Nightmare. I talked about Wolfenstein Old Blood, Wolfenstein New Order, and the new BioShock Remastered. And some of you are expressing some concern, saying, Slack, you got too much on your plate. How are you going to do all this? Guys, I'm not going to do all these walkthroughs at once. Alright, I'm going to do them one at a time. Alright? So what is next here on Major Slack Videos? You want to know what's next? Psych! I ain't telling you. Okay, show up on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, and you'll see what's next. It's already recorded, and it's ready to go. And show up on Sunday at 9 9 o'clock in the morning, and you'll see what's next. 9 Eastern, all right? I'll be uploading the first video of that walkthrough. I'm telling you right now, it won't be Doom Ultra Nightmare. Doom Ultra Nightmare is going to be like this work in progress. I've decided, obviously that I have to complete the entire walkthrough before I start uploading videos. So, because, let's say I start uploading videos as I'm doing it. I don't know if you know, but Doom Ultra Nightmare, it's like Nightmare except one major difference, and that is there's only one life. As soon as you die, that's it. It's over. You have to start the whole game over from scratch. So let's say I start uploading videos of an Ultra Nightmare run on the fly. Okay. Oh yeah, and one other thing, you're allowed to save the game after you complete each mission. All right. Some people are under the impression you have to do the whole thing in one segment. You have to do the whole thing in one segment. You're allowed to save the game after completing each mission. But as soon as you die at any time, the whole thing is over. The game automatically deletes your save, and it's over. You have to start the whole thing over from scratch. So, obviously what I'll be doing is uploading one mission at a time. As I complete each mission, I'll save it, and, but I decided that if I start uploading missions on the fly, all right, let's say I get to level 9, and then I blow it. You guys have watched 9 levels of me doing Ultra Nightmare, and then I blow it. And then that's it. It's game over. I have to start it from scratch. So it wouldn't be fair to everyone, especially me, to have to, upload nine missions, and then but I fucked up, I blew it, and I have to start the whole thing over. So obviously I have to complete the entire walkthrough before I start uploading videos. So all that to say, obviously Sunday, I'm not going to start the Ultra Nightmare walkthrough because I haven't completed it. Far from completing it. I'm at level 3 right now. And it's a big pain in the ass, not to finish the level, but to practice how to complete certain challenges without the game's auto save system fucking everything up. Pardon my French once again. What I'm doing is I'm practicing on Nightmare, and then once I feel ready for a certain mission to complete an entire mission without screwing up, I do an Ultra Nightmare run. And it's a real pain in the ass trying to practice on Nightmare with the really buggered up save system. So it won't be Doom Ultra Nightmare on Sunday. It'll be either Wolfenstein Old Blood, Wolfenstein New Order, or Bioshock Remastered. Alright? And I ain't telling you which. Show up on Sunday at 9 and you'll see which. Alright? So that is it for this video. I'm going to leave you with the rest of this level of Doom Ultra Nightmare. I completed level 1 on Ultra Nightmare, and it will be without commentary for the rest of the video. So enjoy. There will be no video tomorrow, and I will see you on Sunday. And if you thought this video was remotely entertaining and or informative, you know what to do. Like, fave, and subscribe. Alright? Thanks for watching, and see you on Sunday.
Welcome to the UAC. Now 221 accident-free days.